because we are going to enjoy, air quotes, some Sir Roger Douglas, who comes off as the oldest, slowest, terriblest commentator in the world. Now, this is no shade on the show because no one probably knew how old and slow he was. But speaking to one of the other guests on that show today, the amount of time, this is the thing about being polite. Bomber's polite as well, about allowing someone to get to the end of their thought. If they speak at 3 words a minute, then they take up a lot of airtime. And unfortunately, there are conversations today that maybe this should be the last appearance by Roger Douglas in public as a commentator guest on any media show. This first commentary is just, I'm not really even showing you the content. I've just written old and tired. It does sound like old man shouts at cloud. So I'll play you a bit of this and then we'll move into a couple of comments which are more around the topic, which is unemployment and shared ownership of state houses.
The thing is that over the last 50 years, New Zealand's politicians have been sending the country bankrupt in the name of the poor, and they haven't served the poor at all during that period of time.
I feel like I have to keep coming out, do this, just to make sure no one else falls asleep. Stay awake, stay with us.
They've done this by spending billions of dollars and continue to spend billions of dollars on people who do not need government help or assistance and are quite capable
those poors,
of looking
they
after
don't need help.
Landlords.
And
we are in a mess
landlords do.
in this country.
Now, there's not much that he says in this one. Would you like to see a little trick, Chewie? I'll show you a little trick, how we can make him 25 years younger and sound quite erudite. Here we go. You watching this?
It's going to be...
And it was Thomas Sowell who said...
Yes.
You might
we will just
him.
put him up 1.5 speed. You ready? You'll be amazed.
Black economist, brilliant mind. He said, if you want to help people, you tell them the truth. If you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. And the problem has been for a long time that politicians in New Zealand have told people what they want to hear from their polling rather than to tell them the truth. And the truth is we're in a hell of a mess and it's going to take some guts to get out of it.
Honestly, isn't that the strangest thing in the world? Isn't that the strangest thing in the world? He sounds like he isn't onto it, 40, 50-year-old commentator. Just like that. 1.5. Scary, eh? Anyway, let's stick with... sorry. You go.
I kind of mentioned this last night because, I was there for Bomber's show because I was forewarned that it was this demon back from the dead. He has no regret. Well, he does have some regrets about what he's responsible with. It didn't go far enough. And his attitude to the poor there, that the poor don't need help. It's that literally Darwinian. Like, die or improve your situation. I don't care.
Yeah. Just got 2 little clips to play because there is some, when I say substance, I don't mean to his comments. I mean substance to the conversation that we want to pull out of it. Because there's another comment. Now, I'm sorry, but I am going to leave him in his normal speed because if I speak, it's funny, man. When you speed up those terrible opinions, they don't sound as terrible. The content's the same, but when someone says it confidently, like they're young and sprightly, so we've got to leave it at normal speed. And I apologize about it. Go play the game by yourself in your own time. 1.5 on YouTube. He's talking about unemployment and where will it be
coming from. Sir Roger, where's unemployment going to be at the end of the year?
I'm not sure. I probably don't keep up.
Okay, let's move on to the next guest because I don't know.
I don't know.
Cloud.
As well as I used to on the numbers, but I think it comes back. We did a disservice with welfare for Maori. Maori were making their own way, and over the last 30, 40 years, we've made a lot of them depend on the government paying and giving them. And that's a shame for the economy. I mean, if you look 100 years ago, Maori was standing up independent,
On their own land, which has since been taken from them.
striving, and we never actually dealt with their move to the cities in the way we should have. And we have to get back to that. But for me, it's about independence and what I said before, get rid of dependency, because a lot of it is designed.
I mean, like Chewie, I think we would agree with get rid of dependency. So what we're saying is support those at the bottom who have dependence, who are dependent on a system, and let's make their lives so good that they don't need it. But he's not meaning that. He's meaning kick those ones off and let them fight for themselves. Like, put them in the octagon and let them have at it. And, you know, we might lose a few 100,000 along the way, but the ones that survive will be doubly strong.
Yeah. It's like, again, he's acknowledging that there was a problem. There's a massive move from rural areas to urban areas amongst post-war Māori.
Yeah.
That's Māori. That's not Maori. Māori. Oh, we never dealt with that properly. No, you didn't. But why did they do that? Because they couldn't return to their homes. You gave all their land, especially post-war, you gave all their land to returning white soldiers. Like, so then the factory jobs, the things that would pay, were their only things. So they moved to the city.
Mm-hmm.
And then we brought in more workers from the islands. And then we created the shit show that started all of this. When the factories went away, what else did we have? And he's saying not that we should develop new industries or look at redress or help people get on their feet. He's just saying cut them off. Cut them all off.
Cut their feet off.
Like, we've done Maori a disservice by making them dependent on food and accommodation. Like, he's a demon. The man is a demon. He's had decades to reflect on the fallout of what he set in motion, and his takeaway here is it wasn't mean enough. It's insane.
If you're saying 100 years ago Māori were doing so much better, okay, so let's reintroduce that framework, all that land that was there. Let's say 1900. Let's give that all back to them. Let's allow those maraes to be what they were then, and then maybe they'll want to go back to the country or back to the marae anyway. But seeing that's all been removed, you can't look back and go, if only it was like it was 100 years ago. Well, okay, we need to redress some things. Oh, no.
Look, all I can say is after seeing this, and obviously understanding the history of Roger Douglas, I can understand why David Longy wanted to fist fight him.
There's 1% of me which feels a bit bad for him. I really do hope he goes away now, because it's not a good look for him. And look, I know I've mentioned his name like 3 times tonight, but I was talking to Craig today, and Craig was saying that there was points where he was trying to put his head through the screen from Wellington, and that and I've asked Craig if I can share these thoughts, and he said yes. He goes, it was shocking. He shouldn't have been on. He shouldn't be on anything else. His opinions, like his political career, need to die in the 1980s. So that's what he said, because that's where they're from.
It's very clear that Sir Roger Douglas and Craig Rennie are at exact opposite ends of the political spectrum. But there is a part, and I don't know if you've got the clip for this, where I swear Roger Douglas tries to bite Craig Rennie. Now, he doesn't realise that Craig's not in the studio, but he's trying to bite him.
It might be this, but this is the bit about housing that people have been talking about. When Craig has finally had enough, you can see it's quite towards the end of the show. He's obviously been sitting on forks to try and stop himself from snapping back. But because this is, like I'm honestly with you, part of this thing is these guys aren't doing a jump over you, rip you, they're polite people. That means when someone starts to meander and dawdle, it makes it seem worse and longer. And I could see when I watched it back today, Bomber was like, right, and then Douglas would say something else and Bomber would step
And
back,
then we tied a brown onion to our belt, which was a style at the time. You can get two hogs heads for a lady.
This is the last thing. It's only 50 seconds, but it's a bit where Craig decides to say enough is enough.
If we move to use that $1 million on a shared ownership basis, we could free up 5 to 10 existing houses and move people who have almost got the deposit into their own house. And in doing that way...
Roger, that really doesn't work. What you're doing.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're just injecting more money into a housing market that doesn't have the supply. That just puts house prices up.
Come on! I hope you weren't the advisor to Robertson, were you, when he increased house prices by more than anyone else? God help me.
There you go. That's the end of it. And then Bomber.
God won't help you.
No, God.
Sir Roger Douglas.
I think we're looking to get help from the other guy.
He's not going to be there.
But it does lead into this next conversation, Chewie, because it is about platforming. It is about who we're listening to and what we're listening to. And unless you want to offer anything on Roger Douglas, I mean, I don't feel the need to comment on it anymore. He seems pretty clear that it's he needs to just retire and be in his retirement with himself.
I want to offer BHN listeners, just close your eyes. Close your eyes. We're going to imagine a better world. And that better world involves a car crash, a 3-way car crash on a motorway at some dark intersection in the middle of rural New Zealand. There's 3 cars heading in opposite directions. They all meet at this crossroads. Everybody is killed. The drivers of those 3 cars, Sir Roger Douglas, Richard Prebble, and Ruth fucking Richardson. We'd be in a better place.
Okay, they wouldn't. There has been a conversation spark up around Mr. Douglas, Roger Douglas, about who to platform, which does lead us into wrapping up a conversation that we started on Monday, where Mehdi Hasan faced a whole bunch of 8chan comments, but in real life, and there are repercussions for those 8chan comments when people finally can see who and what is making them. So the guy who called himself Connor is also known as Pine Sap online. Now, Pine Sap...
That's a pseudonym.
That is the pseudonym that he wouldn't mention on the show. Pine Sap is a follower of Nick Fuentes, apparently. And there are some senior American Democratic politicians that were also following Pine Sap. So that's the world he lives in. Self-proclaimed Catholic fascist, who recently appeared on an episode of Surrounded by popular YouTube channel Jubilee, has lost his job following the program's release. The debate, which first aired on Sunday, featuring 20 far-right conservatives, we're going to talk about that as well, in discussion with British-American journalist Mehdi Hasan. Connor, who uses the online name PineSap, explained that he would prefer an autocratic state aligned with Catholic teaching over a democracy. He went on to reference Carl Schmitt, a German philosopher who collaborated with the Nazis, after which Hasan challenged Connor on whether he was a Nazi. Connor appeared to avoid denouncing Nazi totalitarianism, and when asked if he was a fascist, he replied, "Yep, I am," to scattered applause. I'm glad they mentioned that. Around the studio, he also defended Franco as a political figure who fought for the church and denied that Franco was involved in the murder of women and children. So he's lost his job. This is his Twitter account, and he's confirmed on here he's lost his job.
Sad fascist.
And he is now doing the podcast world. I will give you 60 seconds of this, because this, Chewie, is exactly what we said. And what we said when we were reviewing that episode was the right, this guy in particular, talks about the left are going to get us, so we're going to get them first. And what we said on Monday was, when the right say that, what they're saying is the left has policies and ideas that we disagree with. That's how the left is going to get us. And their response is alligator Alcatraz and disappearing people to El Salvador. They think that's a proportionate response. And I just wanted to play a little bit of this. This is actually a podcast he was on. And you listen to why he thinks he's been silenced, right? Remember, self-professed fascist who wants to have a dictator run the country. He thinks he's been, well, I'll let it play out. You hear why he thinks he's being persecuted.
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and
We
stuff
may
like
have
that,
to
which is
rename
bad.
this show
but-
because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Smiling now. So when I saw that, man, I was confused. I was like, I think that guy's, is he trying to get fired? Because I know today that almost every job, every sector has been inundated with this DEI bullshit. And they allow you to believe anything you want except for things that are stringently right-wing, Christian, or heterosexual, you know, orthodoxy.
Absolutely.
And you are in some serious trouble in your personal life over this. Am I right?
That is correct.
What happened?
Well, unfortunately, I lost my job as a result, and no one really is to blame for that. It's just the culture that.
Well, I can think of one person who was to blame for that.
I know who's done this.
Yeah.
Who has done this?
But just listen to why he thinks he's lost his job, and that's all we're going to play this.
kind of exists currently surrounding the manner in which you're canceled for voicing exactly what you said, any heterosexual Christian sort of moral belief that goes beyond sort of the secularism and the relativism that we're so used to in our time.
So I was cancelled because I'm a Catholic, not because I supported Nazi. So, but this is the thing. So what he's saying, this is the attack from the left. He feels persecuted by the left because how dare the left not allow me to voice my Nazi-aligned views? How dare there be consequences for me for calling myself a fascist, saying the Democrats have no right to change the country, and saying yay to Nazi sympathizers and Franco. But he thinks, well, it's because I'm Catholic. So that's how the fragile right say that's how the left is persecuting them. And what they then do is they go alligator Alcatraz. They go disappearing you to El Salvador. That's their response. And someone's already mentioned it, True, but just before I throw back to you. So what he did when he lost his job was he started up a GoFundMe type account because, of course, you know, you're going to. Here it is right here.
For my political beliefs.
Fight for my political beliefs. As of right now, that is at, oh, yes, I am a human. Well, I'm as human as you need.
Tick the box.
I did.
Robots can't do that.
34,000 US dollars. Now,
Disgusting.
the average salary in America is 60. So he's just basically, for voicing those views and then playing the victim, has made thus far half a year's salary to help
and look
him
at all
get
the,
through until he gets his next job.
It's not just money that he's getting there, Pat. He's also getting praise.
Respect
You
from
can pray for
Australia.
him.
Christ is king.
Christ is king.
We
Fuck
must
me.
secure our existence of our people and a future for white children.
No,
We are the
hang on.
tribes of Jacob and God's
That
children.
is literally the 14 words.
Well, there it is. And then it says 14
it's
words.
right there. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yep. There we
Okay,
go.
so
Remember,
But
how
that's
about this
sort
one? Remember that the world hated us first. Signed Jesus and Adolf. That's so. You know. So who do we? So now we're going on to the platforming, and we are going to talk about Jubilee, and I know you want to talk about it.
yeah. Look, I've had problems with this format before when we've spoken, like the Sam Cedar one and that sort of thing. I think overall, the idea of this speed debate thing is generally kind of dumb because it follows the same format. Like I mentioned the other night, it's street debate. You know, it's just use shitty tactics to rattle people and you know. But then we have something like this, and it was the same with the Sam Cedar thing, where you end up platforming 20 people with absolutely abhorrent views. And that is a problem. And it speaks to what your intention is. Can you manage this? Like, we've had conversations about platforming before. You've had a long format interview with a literal neo-Nazi before, which is the exact opposite of what Jubilee is trying to do.
Yeah.
Which is like an in-depth examination of where your fucking brain is at, what's wrong with it, and then I'm going to make you eat your own views. Like, the only benefit I see from this Jubilee thing, the surrounded format with these people, is I still think there are a lot of people in the world that think people talking about right-wing nationalism, right-wing white nationalism, crypto-fascist Catholic groups, all of this sort of stuff just sounds like catastrophizing, and it just sounds like conspiracy. And there's no way that people look at the views of the Nazis and realistically think that this is a good idea. I think it's a small group of isolated weirdos that I don't have to worry about. And when something like this gets out there and you go, well, no, these are young, reasonably well-educated people that have made a decision to look to some of the worst ideologies that the 20th century has produced and gone, yeah, I think they were on the right idea. And I think it should shock people that they're out there. Do I think Jubilee does this correctly? I don't think so. But I think there is always a discussion about platforming that if we don't know what's out there, like, I think there's a lot of power in know your enemy. And I think there's a lot of power there to go, you turn on your lights and you find your kitchen's full of cockroaches. Maybe you should have had the lights on earlier.
I don't know if I'm quite there on the Jubilee product. And that might annoy some people, meaning I don't know if I'm totally against it, because if you actually have a look at what they do, this is just the surrounded. It's like 25 liberal students, one Charlie Kirk. It's like 20 Trump supporters, one woke teen. It's like one cop, 20 criminals. That's pretty gross. One Republican, 25 Kamala voters, but then there's one Democrat, 25 Trump voters. I watched an interview today on The Bulwark with Tim Miller, where he's talking to Mehdi about the situation. And Mehdi said that one of the reasons he went on is because his kids consume this. And like his kids' friends. So it's a Gen Z style. And he said you don't get many good progressives on. And if you have a look, Candace Owens, Jordan Peterson. I actually enjoyed that one. I watched that one. Dr.
Jordan
Mike.
Peterson one was a fucking bloodbath.
What conservative? So that's why he went on. I don't have a problem with the concept of how they're doing it. I think obviously there's a couple of things from this latest one where they missed the mark massively. One of the things is it wasn't what Mehdi said it was going to be. It wasn't 20 far-right conservatives. There was at least a smattering of literal fascists and neo-Nazis in there. That's beyond far right. So I think it was sold in a way to Mehdi that it wasn't, because I've also watched the clip that Sam Cedar and Emma Vigeland talked about it beforehand, and Mehdi spoke to Sam and said, shall I do it? And Sam said, yeah, you should do it. It's great. So then they weren't worried about it, but in the response to it, Sam said, if I ever did it, he basically said I wouldn't ever do it again, but I said if I did, I wouldn't sign the consent form until after it was finished. So this episode has actually been more out of the box than usual, although in saying that, Jubilee is definitely about clickbait and controversial things rather than substance. So I kind of go, I'm not necessarily against the format. I would like to do some kind of on the street conversation where we get real people talking to real issues as a part of this. Not exactly like that. So I think that they maybe missed the mark on this one, and maybe it's grown into more of a, the Jordan Peterson one was supposed to be one Christian versus 20 atheists, and Jordan Peterson said in the middle of it, like his Kermit the Frog voice does, he went, when someone says, well, you're a Christian, and he goes, how do you know that? Am I? Have I said that? And they had to change the name of the episode because he wouldn't say he was a Christian. So, you know, it seems to maybe going more off the rails now than it was. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with people debating if they know what they're debating. Like Mehdi has had lots of conversations with completely contrary, opposite people, Zionists, whatever it is, but he always knows what he's going into. In this instance, he basically didn't, because what he went into was not what they said. If they had have said, well, we're going to have 20 far-right commentators, 3 or 4 of them will be fascists, 5 of them will be Nazis, and the rest will be your typical, Mehdi would have gone, no thanks. So that's the big issue for me.
Yeah. I think Goblin Socks here is pretty close to where I'm at. I personally don't feel the Jubilee format is productive. It's not really conducive to a meaningful debate and doesn't move the needle for the audience at all, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah. I think there is a format. There is a format to figure out about how to have these conversations. They are too sensationalized, but what I'm saying is I don't think that this episode is necessarily representative of their whole database. I mean, you go and watch the one with Dr. Mike, the 20 anti-vaxxers versus the doctor. It's really good, and he's very good, and there is lots of information in it. So, you know, it's I'm not giving it the full seal of approval, but I'm not throwing the whole thing under the bus. I think that if they could do them more like the Dr. Mike's, where it's factual, because what this is opinion. That's different. You see, an opinion like this is noise. Facts is a different thing. So that's all.
It's also absolutely ripe for taking the piss out of. This popped up in the BHN Discord the other day. Once I find what window it's in.
My name is Jake. I am a living human being who is currently alive. My first claim is that I don't think I should be murdered. Hello. Okay, I'm going to talk really fast in order to make a half-baked point and just hope you don't call me out on it. Does it really matter if I kill you? Secondly, hold on.
Please don't interrupt me.
I have a family. Do you have a family?
Answer the question.
Yes. It matters if you murder me.
To you?
Yes.
But to anyone else?
My mother would be disappointed.
That's exactly my point. Would anyone else?
You're moving the goalpost.
For me, it would feel really good to kill you. Like, amazing.
Let me get this straight. You believe that you have a better...
Hopefully that's not like a channel with 12 million viewers and that's now going to get us pulled down off YouTube. But there you go. All right. So not a fan of the episode, not a fan of the intention, which is clickbait. Want to figure out a way to have bigger conversations. Like next year, we're starting to think about the election, how to do those.